January 17, 2026. The Persian Gulf, 3:47 a.m. local time. Iran launches what it calls Operation Martyr's Vengeance. Target, the USS Abraham Lincoln carrier strike group. Outcome, total failure. 0 American casualties. And a retaliation so overwhelming, Iran's entire naval capability is erased in under 6 hours. This is the story of the most catastrophic military miscalculation in modern Iranian history. And it starts with a single decision that changed everything. The Lincoln wasn't supposed to be there. Officially, the carrier group had been repositioned to the Arabian Sea 3 days earlier. Standard patrol rotation, nothing unusual. But at 11:32 p.m. on January 16th, the Lincoln reverses course, re-enters the Strait of Hormuz under total emissions control. No radar, no communications, complete radio silence. Iran's coastal surveillance networks see nothing. Their satellite pass window missed the movement by 14 minutes. By the time the sun rises on the 17th, the Abraham Lincoln is holding position 18 nautical miles off Bandar Abbas, Iran's largest naval base, and Tehran has no idea. Here's where it gets critical. Iranian Revolutionary Guard intelligence had been tracking a pattern. For weeks, U.S. carrier groups had been rotating predictably through the Gulf. Entry, patrol, exit, clockwork. The Lincoln's sudden disappearance from their radar fit a narrative they'd been building. American retreat, weakening presence, a window of opportunity. So when hardliners in Tehran propose a strike to test American resolve, the decision comes fast. Too fast. At 2:14 a.m., Iranian naval commanders receive authorization. Launch window, 90 minutes. The plan: saturate the last known position of the Lincoln strike group with anti-ship missiles, overwhelm the defenses, score a symbolic victory. They deploy everything. 12 coastal batteries, Shahid Soleimani-class fast attack craft, submarine-launched torpedoes from Kilo-class diesel subs positioned in the strait, and the crown jewel, a salvo of 32 Khalij-Fars anti-ship ballistic missiles. Total ordnance inbound, over 140 projectiles. It's the largest coordinated naval strike Iran has ever attempted, and every single missile is aimed at empty water, because the Lincoln isn't where they think it is. At 3:47 a.m., the first wave launches. Coastal batteries light up. Fast attack craft break formation and sprint toward the target zone. Missiles arc into the night sky. And 18 seconds later, every radar system in southern Iran goes dark. Not offline. Destroyed. The Lincoln's E-2D Hawkeye early warning aircraft had been tracking the buildup for 40 minutes. The moment the first launch signature appears, the response is automatic. EA-18G Growlers unleash a coordinated electronic attack. High-powered jamming across every frequency Iran's military uses. GPS spoofing, data link corruption, communications blackout. And then the kinetic response begins. F/A-18 Super Hornets, already airborne and holding in a racetrack pattern, engage. They're not targeting the missiles, they're targeting the launchers. Coastal Battery 1 gone. Battery 2, destroyed before the second salvo fires. Fast attack craft attempting to close the distance are bracketed by Mark 54 torpedoes dropped from MH-60R Seahawks. 4 boats eliminated in the first 3 minutes. The submarine threat is neutralized by a P-8 Poseidon that had been tracking the Kilo-class diesel boats for 16 hours. Torpedoes in the water. Both subs hit before they realized they'd been compromised. And the missiles still inbound? The ones Iran thought would overwhelm the carrier group's defenses? The Lincoln doesn't even need to engage, because the Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, USS Michael Murphy and USS Frankie Peterson Jr. are already positioned in a defensive screen. SM-6 interceptors launch. RIM-162 ESSMs follow. Aegis Combat Systems coordinate the defense across 3 ships simultaneously. It's not a battle, it's a demonstration. Of the 140 projectiles Iran fires, 131 are destroyed in mid-flight. The remaining 9 fall harmlessly into the Gulf, their guidance systems fried by electronic warfare. Not one gets within 12 miles of an American vessel. Total engagement time 11 minutes. Iranian losses at this point: 12 coastal batteries, 9 fast attack craft, 2 submarines, and every missile in the initial salvo. American losses, 0. But here's the moment that changes everything. At 4:02 a.m., 15 minutes after the failed strike, the Iranian military tries to regroup. Orders go out to activate reserve missile batteries, recall remaining naval assets, prepare a second wave, and that's when the Lincoln's air wing transitions from defense to offense. Because this isn't just about stopping the attack, it's about making sure it never happens again. The counterstrike is surgical, and it's devastating. F/A-18s and F-35Cs from the carrier hit every confirmed Iranian naval facility within a 100-mile radius. Dry docks at Bandar Abbas, destroyed. The Revolutionary Guard naval headquarters leveled. Ammunition depots, secondary explosions visible from space. Missile production facilities that had been under satellite surveillance for months, gone. Every fueling station along the coast, targeted. Iran's fast attack fleet, the backbone of their asymmetric naval strategy, is burning in port. They never made it out of the harbor. And the strikes don't stop. B-1B Lancers, already in theater and holding in Iraqi airspace, release their payloads. JSN's cruise missiles streak toward inland targets. command and control nodes, radar installations, integrated air defense sites, anything capable of coordinating another strike, eliminated. By 6:15 a.m., Iranian Naval Command has lost contact with over 60% of its operational forces. By 9:30 a.m., that number climbs to 94%. The Persian Gulf, which Iran has threatened to close for decades, is now completely dominated by American forces, and Tehran is in crisis mode. Because this wasn't just a military failure, it was a strategic catastrophe. Here's what Iran lost in 6 hours. 70% of its coastal defense network, every operational Kilo-class submarine, 19 fast attack craft, over 200 anti-ship missiles destroyed on the ground before they could launch, 3 major naval bases rendered non-operational, and the psychological blow, total inability to defend their own coastline. But the real damage is what happens next, because the United States doesn't stop at retaliation. Within 12 hours, the Pentagon announces a permanent carrier presence in the Persian Gulf. The Lincoln stays. The USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, already in the Mediterranean, is rerouted. 2 carrier groups, continuous coverage, and a message that's impossible to miss. Iran's window is closed. Permanently. Regional allies react immediately. Saudi Arabia requests expanded joint patrols. The UAE opens additional airfields to American forces. Bahrain's 5th Fleet headquarters authorizes a 40% increase in stationed personnel. Iran's attempt to project strength has instead isolated them further. And here's the twist nobody saw coming. 3 days after the failed strike, leaked communications from Iranian Naval Command revealed the truth. The decision to attack was based on faulty intelligence, a surveillance gap, a missed satellite pass, and a catastrophic assumption that the Lincoln had left the region. The strike was never about testing American resolve. It was about seizing what Tehran thought was a rare opportunity, an undefended moment, a chance to bloody the US Navy and claim a propaganda victory. Instead, they walked into a trap they didn't even know existed, because the Lincoln's repositioning wasn't random. US Central Command had been monitoring Iranian communications for weeks. They knew an attack was being considered. They knew the likely timing, and they positioned the carrier group exactly where it needed to be to make Iran's strike as costly as possible. It wasn't luck, it was scouting, and Iran fell for it completely. So what does this mean moving forward? First, Iran's naval deterrence is shattered. Their ability to threaten the Strait of Hormuz, the leverage they've held for decades, is gone. Rebuilding will take years, and billions they don't have. Second, the power balance in the Gulf has shifted permanently. American presence isn't rotating anymore. It's embedded, and every regional actor is recalculating their strategies accordingly. Third, Tehran is facing internal fractures. Hardliners who pushed for the strike are being blamed. Moderates are demanding accountability. The Revolutionary Guard, which staked its reputation on asymmetric naval warfare, just watch that doctrine collapse in real time. And fourth, this sets a precedent. Any future aggression against US forces in the region will be met with overwhelming immediate retaliation. Not proportional, overwhelming. The rules just changed, and Iran learned that the hard way. January 17, 2026 will be remembered as the day Iran miscalculated everything. The day they attacked a target that wasn't there, and triggered a response that erased decades of naval buildup in a single morning. The USS Abraham Lincoln is still on station, still operating, still projecting power, and Iran's Navy is still trying to figure out what just happened. If you want to understand how modern naval warfare actually works, how carrier strike groups operate, and why this attack was doomed from the start, drop a comment. Because the tactical breakdowns are even more insane than what we just covered. And the technology that made this possible, that's a whole other story. Subscribe if you want the deep dive. Because this is just the beginning.